Now, Andretti's entrance into Formula 1 in 2025 seems more and more realistic after the latest update from the FIA, and whether we like it or not, the sport is moving towards an extension, just like the president of the FIA, Ben Mohammed Sulayem, has originally promised to. However, his will is not to stop with Andretti, but potentially add a 12th team as well. So, knowing the current team bosses' stance on the expansion of the sport, we cannot help but wonder, will this lead to massive conflict and rebellion from their side? And now that Andretti is more or less certain as the 11th team in the sport, how will this reflect on the entire sport? It goes without saying that Formula 1 has experienced massive expansion over the previous couple of years, especially since Liberty Media took over the ownership of the sport and started the Drive to Survive documentary on Netflix, drawing massive attention and popularity from the USA, which eventually led to 2 new tracks being implemented on the North American continent over the past 2 years, Miami and Las Vegas. This results in a total of 3 venues on the continent, and it's safe to say that the sport has never been as popular as it is right now. But while the team owners and their drivers are certainly enjoying the benefits from it due to the increased revenues as well as the increased amount of investors from the USA, it was inevitable that at a certain point there are going to be bigger fishes to fry, such as Andretti, who would want much more than just being primary sponsors or standing behind an American native driver. In this instance, I don't think we could really blame Andretti. After all, what he wants is to bring back more competition in the sport. And while the F1 experts are worried that all he's going to do is just bring 2 more backmarkers and not be as competitive as his initial promises are, such is the case with Haas, it goes without saying that the investment to actually start your own F1 team is a massive one, estimated at around $1 billion with all costs. This is why many of the teams backed down, and some of them were actually denied by the FIA due to the concern that they wouldn't be able to financially survive in the cold, harsh reality of Formula 1. But according to the latest reports, this is not the stance that the governing body has taken on Andretti. The former F1 racer and the son of 1978 F1 champion Mario Andretti, Michael, has opened up about the obstacles that the current team bosses have been setting for him in the past couple of years. But it seems like all of them have been quite unsuccessful, as his bid to enter the sport may have finally been approved. And who could blame the guy for actually doing his homework? He started to build a massive complex in Indianapolis regarding the future F1 operations of his team, Andretti Motorsports, and he's teamed up with Cadillac, a branch of GMC, in order to secure its financial future in the sport. He knows what he's doing, there is no doubt about it, and even though we haven't heard anything from Andretti directly, one team that applied alongside him, Rodin Cars, may have slipped their hand as to which team succeeded in the bid to enter F1. The company confirmed they won't be racing in the sport in the foreseeable future due to the FIA turning down their application, but they said it's on their understanding that the main issue for this is the fact that Andretti Global have succeeded in this mission, and they're the 11th team who will race in Formula 1. In an official statement by David Dicker, the owner of the company, we were able to learn some juicy details about the future of Andretti Motorsports. As David said, "We appreciate the opportunity to have participated in the FIA process and extend our best wishes to Andretti for their successful bid. Rodin Cars remains committed to pushing the boundaries of motorsport and will continue to pursue excellence in the world of racing." Below, we outline the significant differences between the Andretti bid and the Rodin bid. Now, some of the key differences were the geographic diversity, guaranteeing a female driver, which is something that Rodin Cars has no intention of stopping Jamie Chadwick, the W-Series champion, in one of their seats, as well as being an independent car manufacturer with an engine facility that is fully capable of building an entire engine, pointing towards the fact that the Indianapolis facility may be the key behind Andretti's bid after all. Furthermore, Rodin believes that funding would not be an issue for their biggest rival to enter the sport, simply because of the personal wealth of their founder, and considering what a great success and knowledge Andretti has in the IndyCar 500, there shouldn't be an issue regarding F1 as well. But is this something that is going to help the sport, or will it push it backwards and do nothing more than add 2 backmarkers to the grid? It's not a secret that F1 is one of the most, if not the most exclusive sports in the world, and Toto Wolff wants to keep it that way for as long as possible, believing that the only way going forward is by buying out teams and doing things in the Audi way. However, with Andretti admitting that he already tried to buy out a couple of teams, including Williams, AlphaTauri, McLaren and Aston Martin, as well as Alfa Romeo, this was the only choice he had, and whether Wolff likes it or not, there will be one more seat for the annual event of splitting the cake between the teams, in this particular situation, the cake being the annual F1 revenue. Now, one of the main reasons behind F1 team bosses' reluctance about Andretti's entrance is not only the fear that Andretti will bring no value to the sport other than 2 more cars that will struggle in the back, but they will also take a huge amount of money off the revenue while doing so. But even if they are in the right, we cannot help but note that the American investors would be much more keener of investing in a fully American team other than what they're doing right now. And with how Red Bull managed to bag the partnership with Ford from 2026 onwards, I don't think that the F1 hype in America is going to die anytime near soon. In fact, it's only going upwards, and having an American team that has an American driver fighting for wins and race podiums could bring the popularity of the sport to North America, exactly where Liberty Media wanted it to be in the first place, as the number 1 candidate for the starting spot in Andretti F1 is Colton Herta. It seems like we would see an 11th team in 2025, not 2026, because Andretti wants to sense the sport for 1 year before fully committing to it with the new technical regulations that are starting to take place from 2026 onwards. Now, one of the main issues that they have to deal with as of now is their engine manufacturing, something that they're going to steer clear of and be independent from in due time, as Honda has rumored to be the main candidate for Andretti to supply their engines from. Yet, it seems like the teams that would have the biggest impact from Andretti entering the sport are the ones fighting in the midfield, because even though it's highly unlikely that Andretti would be fighting for race wins and championships right away, they would be a strong midfield competitor right away. The dilution fund is worth around $200 million and is being fairly distributed to the teams regarding their finishing position in the Constructors' Championship. Now, the difference between 5th and 6th or 7th or 8th is massive, compared to about tens of millions of dollars. So this would mean that, for example, Williams, a team that managed to get out of the dead last place in 2022 and is very likely to finish 7th in the 23 season, is going to struggle a lot to keep this place due to Andretti's competitiveness. Not that this is bad or something, if anything, it would increase the healthy competition in the sport. But Williams is a team with a low budget, so every penny they receive from the dilution fund goes back to the development of the team. More precisely, it's being reinvested, and considering they don't have a wealthy millionaire backing them up, this might be a massive issue for them headed into the new era. One thing is for sure, F1 is headed in this direction, and there's nothing much we can do about it. The sport seems to steer towards one weird scenario: enjoy the USA money but not be able to comprehend the consequences that they bring to the table. And at a certain point, it was more than clear that Andretti or any other American native team would have pushed towards this scenario happening in the first place. So after hearing all this, what do you think about F1 having an 11th team? Do you think that it's something that will improve the sport's quality? Let us know in the comments down below.